Dan, how are we?
Very good, Paulie. Good to see you, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thanks. Just very excited to be back in sunny Melbourne town. It's an absolute scorcher out there today. I've been used to a very moist, wet heat, and I stepped off the plane and it was super hot, and it was like I really got like a pong of dry heat right in my face.
Well, I hope you had a good vacation with the family. How was it for you?
Yeah, it was perfect. It was so good to have like consistent quality time with the kids. It's definitely not, you know, a vacation of sitting on the beach, closing your eyes for a half an hour and reading a book for a couple of hours at a time is a thing of the past for now. But the quality of time that you get to spend with your children is just unbelievable.
Yeah, awesome. Well deserved after a massive year. And of course, hope everyone had a great New Year period and enjoyed a bit of rest and relaxation and now rejuvenated and ready to go for the year ahead. Was it nice to take stock, Paulie, and just take a moment to breathe?
Yeah, it was. It was really beautiful to have that time to reflect on the year past and to acknowledge what has worked in the years past, and also to implement strategies and structures for how to learn from the previous year and see if you can make kind of minor alterations to the year ahead, which has been fantastic. How about you? How was your reflection process?
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, it was kind of like business as usual. There was a little bit more space in the day to spend more time with two little daughters, and that was amazing. And I think this period of time was just how to detox from technology in the most efficient way and still be productive. And there was some great kind of lessons I learned and habits to install. And one thing or even two things I can share, which hopefully can inspire everyone else, because it's been an absolute challenge to do. And I've been doing it on and off for the last year, but so far it's been pretty consistent, is, coming home and having a placeholder to put my mobile phone as soon as I walk in the door. And to me, that the idea of having a place to go and put something away makes decision making really easy. Even like the idea of like, where does the phone go when you get home, can actually create a bit of confusion or stress or overwhelm about where you actually put it. So I've just created this little area in the as soon as I walk in the front door, in a drawer, I put my phone, I put my keys, I put my wallet, I close the door, I shut the cupboard, and that's how it is. And then I just move on into the house, and it's just like it's gone. And I just feel like that in itself, creating that environment for my phone to reside, which I did pick up from Atomic Habits, has just been really valuable. And then, of course, at the end of the day, and the phone maybe has come out during the night at different points, because it does, the kids go down, it will come out again to check in with everyone, of course. And then in the kitchen, charge the phone in the kitchen. Take the charger out of the bedroom. I mean, like, just simple little things, but it's like once you've removed it from your environment and you've changed where you put things, and you build that habit of like, this is where this goes, this no longer belongs there. All of a sudden, you've uninstalled and deactivated some habits, and you've reinstalled or installed some new habits, and then it's just about repetition. But the period was very much, geared towards like, how do I, take care of myself when it comes to being digital and like running a digital business. And that's a really unique topic in and of itself. So I think that's going to be kind of like the journey of the year, really. And it's been a great start.
Yeah, perfect. And what a challenge it can be, because we really are, we can use our own personal experience. We really are attached to a digital frame of reality. So to be able to consciously remove yourself from it and setting up your environment and being able to do so can be a very empowering experience. I wanted to do a shout out to everybody that's online. Gav, it's great to see you, mate. Great to see you present. We've got some other eyeballs in there. Please make yourself known, people. I can't see exactly who you are, so
Make yourself known.
please say howdy. We have a great number of people on board. And we've got some really juicy topics to talk about today. And also, if anybody has any other topics that they'd like to talk about, by all means, jump on board. Gav, no, I cannot actually see you. I can only see your beautiful profile picture with your beautiful wife. And sorry, that's not with your beautiful wife. Can't actually figure out what it is. I'm not sure what's happening there, Gav. You're gonna have to help me out here. Please translate. Dom, great to see you, mate. Very good to see you here. Guys, I extend the invitation to everybody that's on line right now. If you have any questions that you'd like us to answer, especially in the context of this holiday period, Dan was just talking about really drumming down and honing in on what it was like to, create a strategy to detox or create separation between himself and technology. And I loved it, Dan. I'm going to try and employ that myself.
Yeah, I think sharing is really everything. And that's why if anyone who's online right now who is benefiting from some new habits in the new year, firstly, sharing it aloud is really powerful as it kind of embeds the new habit into our own system, and sharing what knowledge you've kind of acquired during this period. It'd be great for everyone because it's just all about that kind of mutual support and inspiration. But the fact that we are live, the fact that we've got some people with us, before we jump into anything that we thought we were going to speak about, is there anything coming up for anyone that you'd like to share or ask, health related, relationship related, lifestyle related? We're just going to kind of give a bit of space to hear from anyone. Love the spontaneity of it. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, in the meantime, I guess I can share a little bit about my own personal experience of being in a new environment with my family, and which was over in Queensland, and I found it really quite, I suppose, confronting to a certain degree, having a certain expectation of what a classical holiday feels like, and being confronted with the reality of there isn't really a great deal of downtime when you're an active father in a holiday period. But then looking at the incredible the incredible exposure that you have to your children when you're there, because we're all, for the most part, we're all working men, and to be able to be there and to have that bonding experience with your children, to be playing in pools and in the ocean, making sure my child doesn't drown, and all that kind of stuff is just such a wonderful experience. And just like getting on my child's level, getting on Edie's level, and just building sandcastles, and seeing her socialize in other little groups around the beach as well was just such a wonderful thing to watch. Just see her naturally just like burrow her way into a social kind of existence and it just happens. It's an amazing, wonderful thing to be able to witness. It really is. Why don't we talk about the subjects that we put up initially, and we can kind of take it from there. We did want to talk a little bit about the different capacities that you can train when especially when it comes to this hero protocol and this hero program. And we really have decided to create structure around conditioning, around mobility, and around strength. And those three structures I've found have been such a foundation for you to be able to build a balanced and a symbiotic kind of propulsion forward. To me, these are, if you kind of develop these on a 1-1-1 basis, you really are looking like moving forward in a really solid foundation. But in saying that, some people want to focus a little bit more on other aspects. If you are particularly tight in your hips or in your shoulders, you may need a little bit more guidance in that mobility sense. So I'd love to just kind of talk a little bit about that. But before, Dan, do you have any thoughts on those aspects of fitness?
Yeah, I mean, no doubt they are all really important and really valuable. And sometimes it's just really powerful, in terms of talking about reflections of the past year and, pondering and consideration about the year ahead in terms of like physically, like check in with yourself every day, like how you're feeling, why, like, what you wake up in the morning, like, is your back tight? What did you do the day before that created that? Or what was it, the sleep that you had? I think just kind of like a daily check-in with your body can be a really good way, and like a way to like catalyze what comes next, because there's a bit of tightness there. Well, maybe a rollout's needed, maybe doing a morning routine kind of yang movement pattern that's in the program to support you with the day ahead. And it might not look the same every day, but that morning check-in, it might be like you wake up, you might go to the toilet first thing in the morning, and it's like, let's get really like real here. You get to the toilet and you're like, maybe you're sitting down, maybe standing up. I'm not sure where you're at and what you need to do, but what is your body telling you even in those early moments? Because the bathroom is really a powerful place where you can be by yourself and be with your thoughts, because it's usually a private setting. And so that's the time to already start with like this self-evaluation of how you're feeling, what's the energy like, and not to get lost in the stories there, but just be really clear on what it's telling you. And then like, what are you going to do next to find a solution or to move the body? And like every day for me, it's different. Like today I woke up and I went for a run last night and my back was fine. It was amazing. So I actually got up and I went outside, and my daughter was with me. She was eating breakfast, and I just did skipping. And then I went to the chin-up bar and did some chin-ups, and I just went back and forward and back and forward. And then other mornings I wake up and it's just like yoga. It just has to be yoga because there's tightness in the hips, the back, the shoulders. I might have slept like this, really uncomfortable. My neck might have gone in all sorts of directions when I'm asleep too. So I'm just checking in, because life is so dynamic and so unpredictable. Every morning something feels different, and I'm sure I'm not alone in that. So I think all aspects that Paul mentioned about strength, about mobility, conditioning, they are all essential. It's just, when do they come into play? During every day or every second day or during the week? And it's really good. And we're doing this with a lot of clients, and sorry to just keep going, but just to, like categorize or to review on a daily or weekly basis, out of 10, like, is the body feeling good? Is the energy level good? Am I sleeping well? Nutritionally, how I'm doing? These little ways to kind of evaluate often leads to great change. And it's really about taking it in a systematic way. And that's the Hero program. Systematic, 1 week, like 1 day at a time, 1 week at a time. So yeah, that's a bit about kind of my experience and kind of how I see the benefit of these 3 kind of particular energy systems that we're working within.
Yeah, totally. And talking about sitting on the toilet, yeah, that reminds me of a beautiful episode of one of my favorite TV shows, Scrubs, where the guest star was Michael J. Fox, and he called it his epiphany toilet. So I'm sure we've all had epiphany moments on the toilet. It seems to be quite a common occurrence. And whilst you can be intuitive with your body, I think it's super important to have that structure in place. And that's where we come into place in guiding you throughout that structure. And I feel like there's there's an aspect of introspective exploration where you can check in with your body, exactly what you were talking about, Dan, but having a baseline of understanding that there's a weak set out for you when it comes to the structure and knowing that there's balance in that structure. But then also checking in with yourself and saying, at this current moment, do I need a little bit more mobility? Do I need a little bit more conditioning? Or do I need a little bit more strength, And that can be, just a personal tweaking mechanism. And I was speaking to a client earlier this week about, the difference between what strength conditioning and mobility is. And, I just used a really, really basic example. It's particularly basic, but it's something that helped articulate the difference between the systems to him. And that was really by using your children as an example. And, conditioning can be the understanding that the more conditioned you are, the more work capacity that you have to be able to run around with them all day. And you can just keep up with them. We all know that, like, kids can just be like, they just go constantly until, God forbid, they get a little bit of sugar into the system. They're just like, see you later. And that's one example of the conditioning aspect. And then if you move to the strength, there can be an aspect of being able to lift them up and move them around in different respects, and having that strength structure in your body, especially as they get a little bit older, that can be an incredibly helpful tool for you to be able to do. Obviously, there are a great deal more benefits when it comes to, strength capacity and all that kind of stuff, but drawing on the same example for children. And then flexibility, or mobility, being able to actually get down and pick up your children in an efficient way, being able to move efficiently within strength between those ranges of motion, but like getting to the full extent of those ranges of motion when you have a child down on the ground, being able to pick them up. But also if you've got a 4 or 5 year old that just has decided that she or he doesn't want to walk, and you need to, pick them up, off of the ground, being able to have a mobile spine and a mobile posture to be able to do that is going to be of a real assistance. And then having the strength to be able to hold them whilst walking for upwards of a kilometer can be a really, really demanding task. So that's just a little bit of an illustration that helped our client or our dad to understand the difference between all those mechanisms.
Yeah, perfect, Paul. Before we continue, amazing to see so many people online, or so many eyes.
There's got to be a way that we can identify these eyes. If anyone knows how we can identify these eyes, because right now you are just an eye to us.
A great eye, and we'd love to know what's going on behind those eyes.
A beautiful eye, but I'd love to know exactly how to identify them, because at this stage, if I click on you guys, it seems that I get on to the actual replay, and it's a big mess.
I just wanted to say, Shane, this has been coming up a fair bit. I've been absolutely smashing it training-wise since the turn of the year, and I'm absolutely loving it. But I also wanted to acknowledge, like, I say I'm loving it, but sometimes in the moment, like, I am wrecked and knackered and can't be bothered. And that's all happening and presenting itself whilst I'm doing some of these sessions and trainings. And, I love, like, how wild and unpredictable our thoughts can be, and especially in a training context and training setting too. And what I find is, just on a, like on a lifestyle level, just being able to just face everything and continue showing up. It's like that muscle, and we talk about this regularly, about like all the, these little muscles that we're building that actually aren't kind of part of your physical body. These are the most important muscles, whether it's habits, whether it's lifestyle design, whether it's being able to show up to your commitment, day in, day out. These are muscles that we're building too. And of course, if you're fatigued and you're tired and lethargic, it's knowing the body and knowing when rest is needed. And yet at the same time, just knowing when actually it's like the body is fueled and ready to go. It's just like the mind is maybe fatigued. I just love that, because it just blows open all kind of limitations of like how much the mind can impact the body. And then, of course, how much the body can then impact the mind. And that kind of mind-body connection is so strong. And like when you get to know each kind of system really well and quite intimately, it's like we become really unstoppable. And the only way to really see it is to test it. And so that's these last couple of weeks. It's just been about testing it when it's hot, when it's late, or when it's early. It's like, just like continuing to show up. And, we're all at different stages in the hero program. And, when motivation does dip, or when, mental fatigue sets in, it's like just checking in. It's like, what's going on? Like, am I just a victim to this, or am I actually capable of just following through? And then going back to tiny habits, just like putting the shoes on, or getting the water bottle ready, or just going outside. What happens there? Picking up a weight. What happens next? Little things, but that just sparks the energy that might be needed. So it's just about putting yourself in that environment.
Reminds me of a quote that Jim Quick says regularly, and that's that motivation is not something that we have. It is an action that we execute. And, that's something that you have the power to do any moment of any day. So, I actually extend an invitation to everybody. Next time you see a perceived barrier, whether it's you going for your run, your weekly run, or your, two runs every week, and you feel like you're going to give up, or you're going to just, you've earned a break. What happens if you go for another 5 minutes? Also the same way, if you are, after dinner and you feel like you've earned yourself a sweet, what happens if you, kind of activate that integrity muscle and that determination muscle to stay on path? And you might find that you open up certain doors that you didn't realize. Those Roger Bannister doors, the 5-minute mile doors that never existed before you actually took action, and now they are just a part of your identity and who you are.
Yeah, perfectly said. So we had one more topic, but before we kind of get into that, again, just checking in if anyone has any thoughts, comments, anything to share or ask, or maybe just a thumbs up.
I'm thinking let's pose a question to the group here and see if you guys have any questions in relation to what we've been talking about, or anything that comes up, because we can always talk about that second topic on a later session. I don't want to rush anything, and I know that we're also on a time limit, so it'd be great for you guys to see if there's anything that you'd like to contribute to the conversation, if there's anything that you'd like to discuss or ask when it comes to all the topics that we've been talking about.
I actually thought, just to kickstart it, there you go, great. As I was about to say something, Gavin has.
Do you want to? Oh, you've got yourself a screen there, Dandy.
I've had to kind of learn about this whole Facebook Live business since you've been gone, because usually I get on and I'm just looking at the screen for 5 minutes before I realise that I'm actually live. I watched the replay and I'm like, am I actually on? Like, I didn't realise I'm just sitting there.
Yeah, no, I realise you're totally on from the second you press live. But would you like to read Gavin's question, Dan, or do you want me to?
Yeah, let's give it a go. So I found it easy in holidays to find 30 minutes during the day. Could just choose a moment when I felt great to smash out a routine. Now with more structure to my day, I'm finding it harder to execute my training in the narrow window I've allocated. because I don't have choice to put it off later in the day when I may be feeling more motivated. Yes, so the old morning routine. I'm assuming that's kind of the window. And then Seth has said it's actually the opposite for him. So it's I think really important to understand and acknowledge the situation. Like sometimes we may have to do things when it suits us the least, but it's the actual time of day where it can get done. And I firmly know that that is just pure mindset. It's like we can really shift the focus to doing what's needed rather than what we want. And that takes some time to develop because that's another muscle. But you've just got to be really aware. It's like if you do wait till later in the day, there's more likelihood that it won't get done. I think that's just a general theme. And yeah, Dom, that's where discipline over motivation, perfectly said. It's like being disciplined and being committed to knowing that the morning is when that training can get done. And it's building that habit and building that mindset. And it's like, really, developing that strength to be able to do that. When I allocate my time to do it, I'm just not vibing it. Well, that's a good question too, Gavin. And, tell us what time in the morning it is or what time of the day it is. Let's get really kind of specific here. Paulie, do you have any thoughts?
Well, I spoke to Gav yesterday about this, and from it is a challenge for some people when it comes to this, but really it's just a matter of, like we've discussed, it's that mind over matter. If you are waking up and you're not feeling it, but you're also in a state where you are, you're in this self-sabotage aspect later on in the afternoon. What are your choices, and what is the lowest hanging fruit? Says we talk about this a lot. What's the lowest hanging fruit when it comes to your success and when it comes to your health? And being able to plug something in when there are the least amount of distractions and the only thing stepping in your way is your mindset. Well, think about what you have control of there. Do you have control when your kids are have woken up and they start, jumping on you when you're doing your exercises? Not as much control as you do of your own mindset. And that's the lowest hanging fruit in this situation when it comes to, what we're discussing here.
That's really well said. And I'm glad that Dom kind of shared some really wise words. And I think it has inspired Gav here. And I guess like the last piece to this that I'll just speak about, when something is foreign, it's uncomfortable. Reminds me of the 5 a.m. club. I mean, really, like to start waking up at 5 a.m., it takes discipline, it takes courage, it takes commitment, and it doesn't just happen. And as Robin Sharma would say, it's really ugly and messy for the first 30 days. So I really believe, like, even just saying, like, for the next week, just really committing to your commitment and being like fiercely and violently disciplined, and just see how that changes the mindset and the way that you frame the training. Because mindset and how you focus your mind is really like, it's what you see. So if you see problems, you'll only have problems, and you'll only be exposed to problems, and the atmosphere will just be problem based. But if you shift that, all of a sudden solutions and benefit and strength comes.
Yeah, completely. And like you said, Gav, just like Dom said, it's picking up a time and sticking to it. And I just watched. I might share it. It's it's extreme, but it was also inspiring for me. I saw this little 3-minute clip of Mark Wahlberg's day and what a day looks like for Mark Wahlberg. The guy wakes up at 3:30 in the morning and trains so he can basically spend the rest of his. He basically trains 2 times a day for an hour and a half each, and then does a little bit of work. I don't know what he does, but and then he just spends time with his family. Obviously he's Mark Wahlberg, but the fact that he wakes up at that time is a commitment. Once again, an extreme commitment, but it's a commitment to him saying, I'm creating space for whatever my priorities are. And this is not to make me or you or anybody feel guilty about the structure of our days or the priorities that we set, but it's really just about understanding that it's possible to create space and time in the day to do what's important to help support what is important to you.
And inspiration's key. So it's great that you brought up Mark Wahlberg, and it's great to hear from Dom and from Cess. Gavin, great to hear from you too. Thanks for bringing up that topic. And I think like really powerful would be just to kind of check in on a regular basis and let us know how it's unfolding for you and like what changes are coming about. We are a tribe. We're doing this together. Inspiration is so valuable, and listening to the group wisdom is how, you know, like we support each other and learn new things. So it's just been great to hear from everyone.
It's been a beautiful exchange of ideas, guys, and thank you for being open to receiving feedback, and also being open to offering feedback as well. That's just what makes this group the beautiful thing that it is now and what it's going to evolve into. So thanks, guys, and thank you for a wonderful time together. And Dan and I just love doing these Facebook Lives because they're interactive, they're dynamic, and they give not only you guys, I hope, energy and fuel to go after your health and your goals, but it definitely gives me a hell of a lot of fuel and energy myself.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's amazing just to be with everyone. Thanks for joining us. And we're just going to keep showing up like this and keep offering sessions and support. And if there's anything you need from either of us, just be in touch anytime.
Thanks so much, guys. And we will see you very shortly.
See you guys. Thanks, Paulie.
Thanks, Dan.